attention. I get treated like a friend with special attention getters like these.
Brisky's Buffet cat food, all flavors, 4 6-ounce cans, $1. Charmin bath tissue, 4-roll package, 99 cents. And during the month of March, our famed green tag sale, quality and...
And just ahead, the search for a Flint cop wanted for the murder of his wife stops here. We'll have the story next. Was it a fuel spill or deliberate dumping? Mike Avery tonight on the diesel fuel in the Tittabawassee. And Jill Wellington on how they're rigging the thumb for success. A moving mountain of ice on the bay and a windfall for the tax man. News 5 at 6 is next.
How do you know what's important to people in Flint is what's important to me. I live in Flint. I have a family in Flint. I think we have 80 years experience between the three of us of covering news in this area. That's a lot of experience. The people who make the news trust Channel 5's ability to report it. I know what it takes to be number one, and I give that effort every day.
Friends, I am personally offended by high prices, so you have my vow. I'll beat any store, anytime. Insane! My audio and video prices are so low, no one can go lower.
No matter what they claim,
the competition's gunning for me because I got the best stereo prices in town.
just remember the asterisk, because nobody sells for less than Highland.
Rascal's here now, and it's special. This tough GMC S15 pickup truck comes equipped with bumpers, a striping package, and raised letter tires. All this for only $73.95. Buy a Rascal now. For a limited time only, $73.95. It's not available at just any GMC truck dealer. It's at your key GMC truck dealer. Get your Rascal today. At Howard Bell GMC, My GMC, Riverside GMC, Blaine GMC, Mike Young GMC, and Martin GMC Truck.
New Vision announces an offer that will shatter the competition. Right now, eyeglass frames are up to 60% off when you buy prescription lenses. And for not 1 cent more, you can get oversized lenses, glass or plastic lenses, extra strong prescriptions, and you'll still save up to 60% on every frame in stock. And clear soft mate B daily wear contacts are just $49. The competition will be shattered. You'll be delighted. Hurry to New Vision now.
This is WNEM TV 5, serving Bay City, Saginaw, and Flint. Live from the news center of mid-Michigan, Rick Lockridge, Mike Hoffman, and Mark Wesley. This is News 5 at 6.
Good evening. The statewide search for a Flint cop accused of murder ended quietly this morning at a remote Flint cemetery. Walter Krachek was wanted for the shooting death of his estranged wife, Pamela. Tonight, his run from the law is over. Jim Kirchner reports on a tragic case of murder and suicide.
A cemetery worker at Flint Memorial Gardens found Walt Krachek's body at around 8 a.m. Authorities say it had not been there long, and the Krachek half-wrapped himself inside a police body bag before taking his own life.
We've positively identified the deceased as Officer Krachek of the Flint Police Department, and very apparent it's a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
On Wednesday, Krachek met with his divorce attorney and became upset with a proposed settlement. Hours later, he met with his wife, Pamela, at a relative's house in Clayton Township. They had been separated almost 2 years. He shot her 4 times with his off-duty handgun and left the scene. Law officers are faced with personal problems every day, alcoholism, divorce. But this case of murder-suicide has shocked and saddened co-workers.
He's not an officer that anybody would ever expected anything. That wasn't Walt's way of handling problems in any situations I've ever known him in.
Sheriff Joe Wilson started his career with Krachek more than 20 years ago, knew him well over the years, and knew his problems.
Everything is what we consider morbid humor, and in fact, it's kind of laughed off, and many people don't understand that. But divorce wasn't uncommon. In fact, when Walt talked about his family problems, it was more or less, well, it finally happened to me again.
In the last remaining moments of his life, Walt Krachek displayed his remorse. He left a suicide note saying he was sorry for what he had done. He had pictures of his 3 teenage kids with him. He laid on the ground. here at Flint Memorial Cemetery shot himself once in the chest, right at the headstone of where his parents are buried. Just a few hundred yards from here is where Flint police hold their memorial services. Numerous times, Walt volunteered for that honor guard. Tonight, his fellow officers mourn his loss. Jim Kurtzner, News 5.
A Midland County company is under investigation tonight for allegedly dumping diesel fuel into the Tittabawassee River. The DNR tracked the spill to the Johnston Contracting Company on Poseyville Road. And when News 5 reporter Mike Avery and photographer Gary Linkowski arrived at the scene, they found one story and became part of another. Here's what happened.
The spill was discovered by fishermen about 7 this morning. A Dow Chemical response team was called in to put a boom across the river at Mapleton to contain the fuel. Then officials set out to find the source.
Appears to be coming from a contracting firm on Poseyville Road here in Midland.
That firm is the Johnston Contracting Company. There, DNR officials found a gully running from the company's diesel fuel storage tanks to a nearby ditch. That ditch runs into the Tittabawassee River.
Apparently it's had a chance to spread, possibly overnight, so it's hard to tell just how much has gone down the river. It's a possibility that it was intentional.
While we checked out the contaminated area, a Johnston Company official tried to stop our photographer from shooting video. Then he grabbed me.
Inside of that? I don't care. You're assaulting that man.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Come on.
I'm sorry. I want to film this
on me.
Here's the officer. You heard. Cleanup of the spill went on throughout the afternoon. A DNR investigation continues. The Tittabawassee has become famous for the walleye fishing here, and right now this river is full of fish ready to spawn. But DNR officials say the impact from the spill should be minimal on the walleye, the waterfowl, and the wildlife along the river. Mike Avery, News 5, Midland County.
There is very bad news tonight for workers at Saginaw area Hamady food stores. They're being laid off, and the stores are being shut down. Joe Paulsick is standing by live at a Hamady's on West Genesee. Joe, what's happening tonight?
Rick, this isn't a happy thank goodness it's Friday for about 100 people here. We've learned that all of the Saginaw Hamady stores will be closed by next Wednesday, with the exception of the one in Bridgeport. We talked with several of the meat cutters at this store on West Genesee. They say they really don't know what's happening. All they could tell us is they got a pink slip today and they will be laid off on Wednesday. Practically every employee is in the dark. Ron Brown of the United Food and Commercial Workers Union in Flint told News 5 today he was contacted by Hamady Vice President Norman Griffin. Griffin explained the stores were being cut off by Superfoods, the distributor from Bridgeport, and that by Wednesday, 4 of the 5 Saginaw area Hamadys will have to close. Doug Stone, the divisional manager at Superfoods, told us earlier today he knows nothing. We talked with store manager Dave Passarello at this Hamady grocery on Crashit this afternoon. He told us more than 20 employees here were under the impression they would be transferred to other stores. What's certain at this point at this store is it will close down tomorrow night at 6. And we're back here now at the Hamady store in West Genesee. We talked with an employee a short time ago.
Oh, probably 3 this afternoon.
How'd they tell you?
Just the or the head cashier said, well, I got to start writing layoffs letters, so that was it.
The thing that's certain now is you have about 100 employees who will be laid off, and you have one point that's going to be open. That's the Bridgeport store, and they can use their seniority rights to probably transfer there. So it looks pretty bad at this point.
That is more bad news for a company that's already had plenty of it. Thank you, Joe, for that report. As we told you last night, Michigan is sitting on a gold mine of natural gas that's just beginning to be tapped in the News 5 area. Jill Wellington joins us at the news desk tonight to tell us more about this latest venture.
That's right, Rick. It's really very exciting in Tuscola County right now. We visited the largest natural gas rig in the state that's located in Almer Township. Now, the Petrostar Oil Company is digging down to what's called the Prairie du Chien. That is the deep level to find natural gas. And as you'll see, it's big bucks at big stakes.
Things are looking up in the farm fields of Tuscola County and way down, more than 11,000 feet in this case. The Petrostar Oil Company started drilling in January and is halfway to that important 2-mile mark.
They're basing all their information on seismic tests and any other geophysical information they can get their hands on, but it's still a crapshoot.
with a 1 out of 3 chance of hitting the natural gas jackpot. And it costs a lot to just try.
Basically, a Prairie du Chien well will run between $2.5 to $3.5 million if you don't have any problems. If you have problems, it can run as high as $5 to $7 million.
And big bucks are spent on computerizing the entire process.
And basically what it does is it gives us all the operations that are going on around the rig and it for the past 24 hours and what's currently going on.
And specific soil testing is going on every few hours and every few feet.
The state DNR is very careful about regulating natural gas drilling in the state. It requires a complete contingency plan, but the main emphasis is on safety.
They are extremely regimented. They're extremely cautious about the environment and everything else. It's probably the toughest state I've ever worked in.
Compared to Texas, could we become a Texas like that?
You could probably be bigger than Texas if the Prairie du Chien is as good as we think it is.
Smith says Michigan could be bigger than Texas because the deep wells are just beginning to be tapped. And Texas and Oklahoma wells are already being depleted. Most of the gas from the Tuscola and Bay areas will be used in the Midland plant when it's converted to a gas-fired plant.
Bigger than Texas, that's really something. It's good to have a customer, too, the Midland plant. Progress doesn't always come easy, though. Aren't some of the farmers out there in the thumb just a little bit worried about all this?
Well, the woman that we interviewed last night, the farmer, she is getting $125 per acre. I said that wrong last night. It is $125 per acre. But there are different rights to that land, Rick. There is the surface rights. There is also the deeper level rights, which are called mineral rights. Now, if they own the mineral rights, they will get 1/8 of what they get from the natural gas. But a lot of the farmers don't own the mineral rights, so it won't be as lucrative for them.
But the ones who do, that could be a lot of money, couldn't it?
It could be thousands of dollars for them.
All right, thank you very much, Jill. Also coming up here on News 5 at 6, warm winds and breaking ice add up to trouble for homeowners on the bay. We'll tell you what to expect up there, and Mike Hoffman on your weather for the weekend.
Rick, a snowstorm in the Central Plains has forced the National Weather Service to issue a winter storm watch for northern Michigan. I'll have details, but first, here's some of the temperatures across the country.
Tonight, you broil them on a flame, make them taste just right. So isn't it nice to know there's a place to go where they make it just as good as you can make it yourself? That's why we do it like you do it when we do it like we do it at Burger King. We do it like you would do it when we do it like we do it at Burger King.
You know they're coming in the fourth. Bring me some more of those.
It's Art Van's total winter clearance.
What do you have?
2 Bassett, 1 Broyhill. Friday, 4 to 10 p.m. at Art Van.
We're overstocked.
Now, even further reductions. Save 15 to 62% on every item. The selection's going fast. Friday for 6 short hours.
Okay, bedroom, living room, dining room. Room it out.
Save 15 to 62% on every item in every department during Art Van's incredible store-wide total winter clearance. Friday, 4 till 10 p.m.
Now entering suspended animation.
So when does he want us to wake him?
Oh, get this. When the Super Lotto jackpot reaches $100 million.
Why does he want to wait? The jackpot's already $1.5 million.
Right. Besides, I hear somebody wins it almost every week.
That means if he's waiting for a $100 million jackpot, he'll be in there forever.
Yeah.
Coffee?
You buying?
Play Super Lotto. What are you waiting for?
You know, when I shop at Meijer, I really save a lot of money. Every week.
Get Muller's pasta, only 97 cents a box. Choose elbow macaroni, regular and thin spaghetti. And for a truly memorable meal, add Classico spaghetti sauce, just $1.67 a jar. And De Abruzzi, Di Sicilia, and traditional De Napoli styles.
I even save enough to pay for Billy's piano lessons.
Thanks a lot, Meijer.
Strong northeast winds are causing real concern for residents along the Saginaw Bay shoreline. By midday, ice was already piling up off at Winona and Donahue beaches. And if you look close, you can see how fast the ice is moving as the winds push water levels up in the shallow bay. Some damage has already occurred. This mobile home was badly dented by the moving ice.
I was looking out my window and saw the water moving on the edge of the ice, and
all of a sudden the whole thing started moving like the blob and didn't stop until it hit my sandbags and it started coming up. So it was spooky.
Although this ice pileup is still several hundred feet offshore, it is moving toward land. You can see it. Emergency services personnel will keep an eye on the situation tonight, especially if the winds pick up. Eric Gila was out there, and he said that mountain you just saw, it took about half an hour is all for that to come up, and you warned us about that last night. That might happen.
Well, that's right, although I've never seen it before. That was a pretty amazing video there, being from Indiana. I haven't seen too many ice flows quite like that, but we are going to continue to see problems. Northeast winds will continue. Let's take a look at the weather shot for today. That's also along the shoreline, some of the gulls out that way, and we're going to really see some cooling temperatures and also a potential snowstorm on the scene over the next couple of days. We will have to be watching that. First of all, let's take a look at the high and low for today. You can see 53 in Flint and Owasso, 50 in the Tri-Cities, though in this area temperatures have started to fall already. The low 31 and 32 respectively. Current temperatures across the area then, Flint and Owasso at 48 degrees. Here's the cooler air. The northeast winds off the bay, Saginaw and Bay City at 40, and Midland at 39 degrees. The rest of the conditions then, we can see the winds already east-southeast at 15, and in some cases, like around the bay, they are east-northeast. The humidity at 44% in the barometer, 29.87, and that is falling. Let's take a look across the area then. Already the clouds moving into northwestern portions of Michigan and the UP, along with a few snow showers. Now, the low this morning was in Houghton at 25 degrees, but because of these winds off the lake, you can see several temperatures. Alpena at 23 degrees are cooler than that. The hot spot was 55 at both Kalamazoo and Muskegon, and out in the thumb, it's now 44 at Bach. As far as the winter storm watch is concerned, right now they're thinking along a line from Manistee to Oscoda. North of that line, we're going to see the potential for a winter storm later tonight and during the day tomorrow. The best chance will be then from Alpena back to Traverse City northward, where it should all be snow. There will probably be a mixture in this southern area, and so we will have to watch it. But south of there, generally rain during the day tomorrow. Satellite picture shows the storm developing across the plains back into the Rockies. This is a major storm, and it looks like it is going to be tracking through the Great Lakes states, but we are going to miss the bulk of it, except some of you folks up north, as I said. But clear skies from Texas back into the southeast, so that's good news for those areas. As far as the National Weather Map is concerned, here's the storm system right now. The northeast portion of Nebraska, it'll be taking a track east-southeast, probably coming through southern Lake Michigan late tomorrow or tomorrow night, and then continuing to track eastward from there. Snow from Minnesota back into Colorado, northwestern portions of Kansas. Some of these areas are seeing blizzard conditions in Wyoming, western Nebraska. I-80 is closed, as a matter of fact, in western Nebraska, and blizzard conditions also on up into South Dakota, so a real major storm for this time of the year. Tomorrow, though, the storm will be into northwestern Illinois, and then it'll continue to track probably near the Flint area sometime over the weekend, and we'll have to watch it because as that storm moves past, then we get the north winds behind it, and things will change to snow showers as we head on into Sunday. So it does look like we are going to see a return to winter. If you're heading out this evening, though, it looks like partly cloudy and chilly conditions. Temperatures by 11 o'clock, 40 to 44 degrees, though with those northeast winds off the bay and the lake, we are going to see cooler temperatures in those areas. Now here's my mid-Michigan forecast, and for the remainder of tonight, we'll see increasing clouds as the night goes on. It'll be windy. Those winds northeast to easterly, somewhere between 20 and 25 miles per hour, the low 33 to 37. Tomorrow continued windy and cloudy with showers off and on. Though you folks way up north will see some snow as well. Generally easterly winds, again, 20 to 30 miles per hour, the high 42 to 45. Tomorrow night then rain changing to snow showers, the low 32 to 35. And as we take a look on into next week, we can see highs only in the lower 30s, snow showers continuing Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, and some return to sunshine as we head toward the middle of next week. So we really are going to miss the bulk of this storm, except areas up near Houghton Lake on northward, but then snow showers after that.
Almost lost in the shuffle is the fact that this is a beautiful, gorgeous day, wasn't it?
Really
One of the best
turned out nice.
Thanks, Mike. And still to come, who is really benefiting from tax reform? And why some doctors are seeing red in Bay County? In a moment.
Key. Keys Pool and Patio presents Leah and Chris Claudio, searching for the prettiest patio furniture at pre-season prices. Search no more. Keys introduces spectacular pre-season prices on all in-stock and special order patio furniture, including Homecrest luxurious line of new and exciting colors and styles for $88. Save 20 to 40% on tables, chairs, chaise lounges, umbrellas, and more at Keys Pool and Patio, Saginaw, Clio, and Fenton.
One leading corn soil insecticide says to apply in furrow for the best rootworm control. And leading universities say you get the best rootworm control with a banded application. We agree, because a T-band application of Lorsban 15G insecticide gives you the best of both. In furrow application and banded. You get the best control of rootworms and other damaging insects. T-band Lorsban 15G. That's corn security.
This is the final phase of Grant's World of Sports season liquidation sale. Over $1 million in skis, boots, bindings, and poles on sale at 1/2 off. 1/2 off, nothing held back. Everything in the store at Grant's is on sale at 1/2 off. If you thought about getting into skiing and getting your family onto the slopes, do it now at 1/2 off.
Half off.
Now McDonald's is cooking up something hot for morning people and night people.
Hey, all you early birds! Come on and swing by McDonald's and get those breakfast sandwiches you like at a price you'll love. How does that grab you?
Take this, night owls. Cruise into McDonald's after 4 p.m. and pick up great tasting dinner sandwiches for a great price. Gotta check that out.
Wake up, morning people!
Don't miss a beat, night people.
Get your breakfast and dinner sandwich favorites at McDonald's.
The new tax laws that you're sorting through as you do your returns might just as well be known as the Tax Preparers Full Employment Act. So many people are having problems that the professionals are working full blast to keep up. Officials say the filing trend had been slow until now, but with exactly 5 weeks until the deadline, the pace is picking up.
Well, we've increased our staff substantially this year. And like I said, we've seen a lot of people seeking assistance. A lot of people who have done the return themselves no longer able to handle it, no longer want to handle it because of all the changes.
A lot of their questions this year are concerning the new standard deduction, especially those for taxpayers 65 or over, because it is in a new area this year on the return itself. And also they have a lot of questions on IRA deductions and the new home mortgage interest deduction.
Now, these phone numbers are available if you have questions about your return. If you're expecting a refund, the average amount of the check is up $60 this year to $893. Scarlet fever. It's a disease many of us thought probably went out with the wagon train, but Michigan health officials fear it could be making a slow comeback. An outbreak of scarlet fever has recently been reported in the Detroit area. Now, Bay County health officials are concerned about the problem. They've diagnosed 2 cases in the last month, which they say is unusual for that short a period of time. Bay County health official Rick Drisgas tells me...
If you know a minority, sophomore, or junior student in college, majoring in journalism or a related field, Meredith Corporation and TV5 are looking for them. These students may be eligible to apply for Meredith's Minority Scholarship. Applications are available now through May 1st from TV5. Call for more information.
On News 5 tonight, why did an apparently level-headed veteran Flint policeman kill his wife then himself? Team coverage next. Another Hamity tremor shakes 100 Saginaw area workers from their livelihoods, the latest there. And startling news from the Soviets. Their space shuttle is almost ready to launch. Why are the Brits fuming over Prince Charles's ski trip? That, March Madness, and Mike Hoffman with your weekend weather coming up next.
Friends, Mike O'Seiler from Seiler Chivinos. During our gigantic pre-St. Patrick's Day sale, we're kissing the Browning Stone goodbye on high prices. For example, this 88 Cavalier with $55 down is only $165 a month. Or this 88 Calais with preferred bank financing is only $185 a month. What do? You pick up the phone, give us a call, 517-643-7226. Where we're west of Saginaw between Merrill and Hemlock, home of that $55 down. What a place.
Glasses. You can never find them when you really want them, mainly because you can't see them. It's a good thing I went for the 2-for-1 sale at Vision Express. I've always got a spare pair. Catch you later. Oh, dummy. Get 2-for-1 at Vision Express. Offer available for a limited time only. Call now for an eye exam or bring in your prescription. Vision Express, Saginaw's Fashion Square Mall, main entrance.
This is WNEM TV 5, serving Bay City, Saginaw, and Flint. Live from the News Center of Mid-Michigan, Rick Lockridge, Mike Hoffman, and Art Neal. This is News 5 Tonight.
Good evening. Tonight, no one knows for sure what made Walter Krajicek snap, but he did. The Flint police officer shot his wife 4 times Wednesday night. Then this morning, in a quiet cemetery, Walter Krajicek took his own life. Police have closed the investigation into the murder-suicide, but questions remain. We have 2 reports, beginning with Jay Brando in Flint.
This is where Flint police officer Walter Krajicek ended his run from the law. His body was discovered here this morning at the Flint Memorial Garden Cemetery. Cemetery workers heard a shot and discovered the officer's body around 8 this morning near the grave of his parents. A suicide note was found with the body. Authorities say that Krajicek had half-wrapped himself in a police body bag. But tonight, a chaplain with the Flint Police Department believes the tragedy could have been avoided if Krajicek had sought help by talking out his problems.
Most people have stress, and I know in their type of job that they do have stress. But first of all, they have to open up enough to want to talk about it. And then when that happens, then we can kind of share with them some factors or maybe something that will help in alleviating that stress. And maybe because of being a policeman, when it happened, he figured he didn't have to deal with it. He dealt with it in his own way. It was stress there, and that was the only way he knew how to deal with it. But if he had had some help before this, because policemen, there's a lot of policemen are divorced, they having problems, they are human beings just like everyone else is, and so we all go through it.
And that may have been what happened to Walter Krajicek. Jim Kurtzner has more on the final days and hours of Officer Walter Krajicek's life.
On Wednesday, Krajicek met with his divorce attorney and became upset with a proposed settlement. Hours later, he met with his wife, Pamela, at a relative's house in Clayton Township. They had been separated almost 2 years. He shot her 4 times with his off-duty handgun and left the scene. This case of murder-suicide has shocked and saddened co-workers.
He's not an officer that anybody would ever expected anything. That wasn't Walt's way of handling problems in any situations I've ever known him in.
Sheriff Joe Wilson started his career with Krajicek more than 20 years ago, knew him well over the years, and knew his problems.
Everything is what we consider morbid humor, and in fact, it's kind of laughed off, and many people don't understand that. But divorce wasn't uncommon. In fact, when Walt talked about his family problems, it was more or less, well, it finally happened to me again.
In the last remaining moments of his life, Walt Krajicek displayed his remorse. He left a suicide note saying he was sorry for what he had done. He had pictures of his 3 teenage kids with him. He laid on the ground here at Flint Memorial Cemetery, shot himself once in the chest, right at the headstone of where his parents are buried. Just a few hundred yards from here is where Flint police hold their memorial services. Numerous times, Walt volunteered for that honor guard. Tonight, his fellow officers mourn his loss. Jim Kurtzner, News 5.
Some 100 Hamady food store employees have just found out they're about to lose their jobs because the company is shutting down nearly all of its Saginaw area stores. In all, 4 stores are affected. Only the Bridgeport Hamadies will be spared. The first store to close will lock its doors tomorrow at 6 p.m., and all 4 will be dark by next Wednesday. A Hamady spokesman said the shutdowns were ordered after the chain's major supplier, Superfoods of Bridgeport, cut off all shipments. Superfood Division Manager Doug Stone first denied that report and then could not return our phone calls, or would not. As for the workers, they received no advance warning this was coming.
Oh, probably 3 this afternoon.
How'd they tell you?
Just the or the head cashier said, well, I got to start writing layoff slips, so that was it.
Some Hamady workers told us they were under the impression they'd be transferred to other stores in the Saginaw area, but that is clearly impossible. Hamady says the Saginaw shutdowns are permanent. Hamady's has been badly damaged by Chairman Alex Dandy's financial problems and by a 2-month strike in late 1987. Former National Security Advisor Robert McFarlane is admitting he withheld key information from Congress during its probe of the Iran-Contra scandal. As part of a plea bargain agreement, McFarlane pleaded guilty to 4 misdemeanor charges. In exchange, McFarlane has agreed to cooperate with the independent prosecutor by testifying against other figures in the affair. Another chapter in the Gary Hart story has ended. Hart withdrew from the presidential race at noon today, the second time he's done that this political season. Hart told supporters in Denver, the people have decided.
People are the strength of this country. I said I wanted them to decide about my candidacy. I got a fair hearing, and the people have decided, and now I clearly should not go forward.
Hart failed to win a single delegate in this week's Super Tuesday primaries and caucuses. While the South has been basking in the political limelight this week, the Plains States and the Rockies have been battling a blizzard. In Denver, the storm left a hefty reminder winter is far from over. And by tonight, the storm had built up enough steam to provide blizzard conditions for Wyoming, Nebraska, and South Dakota. Hundreds of miles of highways are closed tonight as the storm heads into the upper Midwest. Mike will tell us just how much of that snow will get here in Michigan, if any, in just a few minutes. Also ahead on News 5 tonight.
Property, and I want to film inside of that. I don't care. You're assaulting that man.
A wrestling match is the result when a News 5 crew tracks down the story of a diesel fuel spill into the Tittabawassee River. We'll tell you why there was an attempt to keep us from photographing the source of the leak. And from Australia, the shocking pictures of a mid-air plane collision.
Now entering suspended animation.
So when does he want us to wake him?
Oh, get this. When the Super Lotto jackpot reaches $100 million.
Why does he want to wait? The jackpot's already $1.5 million.
Right. Besides, I hear somebody wins it almost every week.
That means if he's waiting for a $100 million jackpot, he'll be in there forever.
Yeah.
Coffee?
You buying?
Play Super Lotto. What are you waiting for?
I can appreciate a place that helps you furnish your home, as well as your head.
I'll always remember the look of utter disbelief on her face the day I gave her that pearl necklace for our 40th anniversary.
Just got this. Been waiting forever for it to come out. It's cool. Wait till you hear it.
Thanks, Grandpa.
You know they're coming in the fourth. Bring me some more of those.
Art Van's
Okay,
total winter clearance.
What do you have?
2 Bassett, 1 Broyhill. At Art Van Furniture now.
We're overstocked.
Power pack savings of 15 to 60% throughout every Art Van store. Art Van's total winter clearance going on now.
Okay, bedroom, living room, dining room. Room it out.
You'll find unbelievable price reductions on every item in every department during Art Van's incredible store-wide total winter clearance going on now.
Rascal's here now and it's special. This tough GMC S15 pickup truck comes equipped with bumpers, a striping package, and raised letter tires. All this for only $73.95. Buy a Rascal now for a limited time only, $73.95. It's not available at just any GMC truck dealer. It's at your key GMC truck dealer. Get your Rascal today. At Howard Bell GMC, My GMC, Riverside GMC, Blaine GMC, Mike Young GMC, and Martin GMC Truck.
Early rising fishermen on the Tittabawassee River noticed it first this morning, a diesel fuel spill. A Dow chemical response team was called in and launched a containment boom at Mapleton while the DNR tracked the source of the spill. They found it here at the Johnston Contracting Company on Poseyville Road. The fuel had run from plant grounds into a ditch and from there into the river.
Apparently has had a chance to spread, possibly overnight, so it's hard to tell just how much has gone down the river. It's a possibility that it was intentional.
Minutes later, a News 5 crew attempting to photograph the scene was interrupted by a company official who grabbed first the photographer, then the reporter.
I don't film inside of that. I don't care. You're assaulting that man. Okay, I'm sorry. Come on. I'm sorry. I want to film this on me.
It is not known how much diesel fuel leaked into the river. The DNR is investigating and will recommend whether to file charges against Johnston Contracting. We have extraordinary pictures to show you tonight of a mid-air collision between two Royal Australian Air Force jets. It happened at an air show over Sale in eastern Victoria on March 10th. That would have been this Wednesday 9th here. Now watch as from the bottom of your screen the errant aircraft suddenly collides with this plane. Now watch it again in slow motion. The impact sent the jet on your left at the bottom spiraling out of control. The pilot ejected and landed safely. The other jet made a belly landing at the Air Force Base at Sale, and its crew were safe. The pictures were taken by a cameraman for Australian TV who just happened to be taping when the planes collided. American space experts have just received some stunning news. The Soviets plan to launch their space shuttle within days or weeks, a full year ahead of schedule. As Don Holmes reports, the Russian shuttle looks like its American counterpart, but there are many differences in form and function.
This is what the experts call Shuttle-ski, a reusable Soviet space truck about the size of the U.S. shuttle. But there are differences. Rocket engines on the booster instead of the plane, and jet engines for a powered glide to Earth. Soviet space analyst Charles Vick says the latest statements from Soviet officials indicate a shuttle launch within 6 weeks.
That it would be launched with no payload, it would be launched unmanned, and that it would actually pick up payloads and return those payloads to Earth in an unmanned mode. And it's just a lot of suspicion among us analysts. We think it's coming, and a lot sooner than we expected.
Soviet analyst Nicholas Johnson, author of the annual Soviet Year in Space, agrees, saying a launch is imminent, and that one secondary French source is calling for a March 17th launch. The Soviet shuttle will ride piggyback on the heavy booster Energia, which has flown only once.
It's a rather gutsy decision. But then again, when you consider that we launched manned on our first shuttle, and they've already successfully tested the booster successfully, it's really not that gutsy a decision, except in the sense that they're flying it unmanned.
Unlike the U.S., the Soviets really don't need a shuttle. They already have a reliable family of expendable rockets. Experts say they'll only fly their shuttle 3 to 4 times per year, and only when they need to bring payloads back from space. In Huntsville, Alabama, Don Holmes for NBC News.
Meantime, the U.S. shuttle program continues to suffer from just plain hard luck. This week, a train carrying 3 shuttle booster segments collided with a car in Biloxi, Mississippi, killing a couple inside the car and putting the booster delivery a day behind schedule. Still lots more ahead, like Prince
To a patient.
That's amazing. They're my favorite authors.
Oh, because I enjoy them so much myself.
It's strange, isn't it? We work together, yet we're almost strangers.
Yeah, I know.
Do you like French food?
Yeah.
You know, I know this great little place in Sausalito. It's like in the basement of a Victorian hotel. I think...